Alright, I'm gonna say it. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands is secretly an action game. If you don't believe me, well, let me just show you a thing or two. Now that we're on the same page, let's get started. This is Combat Overview. In these series of videos I go over just that, the combat, to be visual manual in a way and give a more in-depth look into what a game has to offer. Because too many reviews gloss over gameplay, calling it a button masher, or giving it the blanket statement, it's like DMC. Okay, real quick, before we start anything, go to the controls and change it to type B. This setup is exactly what we're used to. So tap B and we'll jump. And if you keep pressing it, we'll store some air, having us float around. But if you want to drop back down, pressing Y will shoot out a puff of air, acting as a projectile. Holding X is used to eat any goodies we have on hand, items that will increase attack, defense, or restoring some health. Holding L will block. It'll guard in all directions, no matter which way you're facing. I notice it'll actually damage enemies when they hit you too, so it doesn't seem too punishing being overly defensive because of that. But bosses will do chip damage, so at least bosses make sure to keep you on your toes. So we actually have some options while we're blocking. So if you press B, we'll do a slide kick. It'll damage any regular enemy but not bosses though. But it can also be a good way to move around the map or a boss arena with the quickness by chaining these with a hop afterwards to cancel the slide kick's lag. Again, while we block, moving the left thumbstick will have you move in that direction doing a dodge. And we have a good amount of control over it too. Can go straight back, or we can choose to move ourselves to the left or to the right. Just a good amount of angles to move around. And yeah, just like we saw earlier, if we dodge at the correct timing, we'll do a perfect dodge, slowing down time. So we got the staple perfect dodges, but the unique mechanic that makes Kirby different from other action games is being able to inhale by holding Y. We can do this both in the air after a single jump or on the ground. Can walk around while we're doing it too, and holding Y will have you do a powerful inhale. Now if an enemy gets caught in its range, they'll be sucked up and you'll instantly take on their ability, but if they don't have an ability to take, they'll just be a projectile that you can spit out by pressing Y, hurting anyone it hits. You can actually inhale some enemies' projectiles too, using it against them. Now if you inhale multiple stars or items at once, it'll shoot out an even more powerful projectile. Now this is where perfect dodges on bosses comes in handy. The extra time we got, and with the help of being able to control our dodge angles, we get to set up double inhales to deal more damage or just to be able to spit more stars before they disappear. So yeah, we got ways to help set up strong follow-ups after some perfect dodges. But keep in mind, when you have something to toss, you can only jump once and you can't block anymore. But pressing L, you'll eat whatever you have in your mouth and you can go into whatever action you need to. Okay, so these abilities, I'm going to treat these just like the job system in my Stranger Paradise video. Just going to go over some of the earlier ones because it'll take us all day to go over every single one. So alright, we have 12 base abilities we come across throughout the game. And when you take on one of these abilities, our inhale button is now replaced with a unique attack. So if you want to go back to being able to inhaling or just want to drop your current ability to get a different one, just hold A and you'll get rid of it. So the sword, a tried and true ability. It has a 3-hit combo. We have some control of our position while we're attacking too. Can slowly move around as you attack to help make sure you're facing enemy. We can hold Y to charge up an attack, and letting go will do a spin attack around you. And while charging, you can move around to have space yourself around enemies, and once you let go, you can still control where you go. And you can go into that charge attack at any point of your basic combo. Our attack in the air would do this flip spin attack. And notice after a dodge, we'll pop up high enough to do that air attack. So it makes it easy to start your offense after a dodge. Speaking of which, if we perfect dodge, we'll do a strong counter attack, which is pretty damn cool. Now our slide turns into a stinger, so you can use this to help shorten the gap between enemies and start our combos. And if we press B again after that slide, we'll do a launcher going into air combo, and it'll end with a slam attack. Cutter. This works like boomerangs, can toss them out easily, having 2 out at a time, hurting an enemy on the way out and on the way back in. And if you attack an enemy up close, you'll do a cool flashy combo that'll have you go into the air and quickly slam back down. Holding Y will charge that boomerang you just tossed out, making it stay in place and have it be a constant hitbox. And as it charges, it will get bigger. And you can let go of Y to have it return to you, or just letting it auto-release after some time. Once released, it'll let out a huge burst of damage and return to you, which will also hurt anything along the way. While this happens, you can actually walk around and jump, slide, and all that. Pretty helpful when you notice a boss is about to attack. You can charge a boomerang up, letting it hurt the boss while you gotta reposition in the meantime. Fire ability turns Kirby into a flamethrower. And as you're blowing hot fire, you can slowly walk around, dealing constant damage. It also leaves behind smaller flames, helping cover ground for a bit. If you keep aiming at one of those smaller flames, it'll turn into a large flame pillar. In the air, it'll do the same attack, but if you press forward or any direction on the left thumbstick, as we attack, we become a ball of flame. And if you combine that with the slide hopping, we can really cover ground. The Ranger. So tapping Y will do quick shots. Attacking the air will do the same attack. But if you hold Y in the air, Kirby will do shots under himself. And while we do this, we can control our movement to either move forward or backwards, making it useful to approach or to back off. If you hold Y while on the ground, we'll aim our next shot, and it'll lock onto any nearby enemies and it'll stay on them. And if you keep it held, it'll charge a shot to be larger and deal more damage. And just like the sword, doing a perfect dodge will do a cool counterattack. Now, a cool thing we can do with these abilities is evolve them. Just like in Stranger of Paradise, it'll make a specialized version of that ability. But some of these evolved versions are very different from the base it expanded off from. The sword, for example, will become this great sword. It has slower swings but damage is higher. I'm able to use this shield to turn around facing enemies but things you can't dodge anymore. So evolving the sword changed my blocking. So there's these trade-offs, but that's the cool to have those options. So you can have an ability that'll fit to your playstyle. But don't worry, once you evolve an ability, we can easily pick past versions, making it the version we'll see through all the levels once you pick it at the blacksmith. But to be able to evolve these abilities, you gotta find their blueprints, and have the rare stones given from side challenge stages. You get blueprints from exploring after boss fights, or just placed right along the path. There's even a wall of D who will tell you if you missed any, so the game really helps to make sure you're not going to miss out on these. But I only went over 4 out of the 12 in the game, and not including their evolved forms. So there's a lot here to unlock and try out to find what suits you best, and it's pretty fun to unlock and see their new attacks. Both grounded and in the air, figure out their charge attacks, learn their trade-offs. Now if you really like an ability, with those same rare stones and some coins, we can choose an ability and power them up, increasing their level. But alright, I know, it's a Kirby game, so these enemies are a bit of a pushover, but if you want to have just straight to the point fighting, we got a Coliseum here to do boss rushes at varying difficulties, so this is the best spot to really use these abilities. Who knew Kirby would ever have a Bloody Palace? But alright, all jokes aside, I know Kirby isn't a hardcore action game, but damn, this game is really good. It has all my favorite things I like from past Kirby games all in one package. The fun bosses like Super Kirby Clash, the nice challenging second run remixing everything like Dreamland, and the charm of Crystal Shards. So if you never played Kirby before, this is an amazing first entry, and if you're worried it's more of the same stuff, well, it's definitely a Kirby game, but it changes things up enough, making it a nice refreshing take on the Kirby series. And if it gets the same post-launch support like Star Allies did, oh man, this game is only going to get better.